Greetings, all! Today, we will be examining the uncommon ground ghost-type Pokemon Golett and its rare evolution Golurk, the two collectively known as the Automaton Pokémon. Though the forms might seem a bit clunky to some, the members of the Golett family are fascinating creations whose mere existence points to a time long forgotten with a purpose that we can only speculate about today.
Golett have bodies made from light and dark teal clay pieces and stones, with simple and short stocky feet, though they have full articulation in the shoulders, arms, and three-fingered hands. Their head is a slightly pointed cap with two glowing uneven yellow eyes on the front, as well as light pouring from their joints and the diamond-shaped plate on their chest adorned with a glowing swirl mark, held onto their frames by a four-way bronze belt structure. The evolved form Golurk have a similar body color as Golett, but their forms are far more refined, with a large barrel-like torso with movable legs and arms, their feet like solid platforms with coiled bronze bands around their ankles as well as their wrists, their hands now having spiral-inscribed diamonds stuck to their backs, with a full set of 5 fingers with opposable thumb. They have large shoulders with the same spiral insignia and barbed protrusions at the top outer corners, with a slight skirt at the bottom of their torso, and a large bronze seal attached to the front of their forms, covering up what looks to be a large crack in their form.
In terms of origin, it appears that the members of the Golett family are the artificial product of an ancient, widespread civilization from thousands of years ago.
Golett are like Baltoy in that they are constructed out of earthly materials like clay and are thus ground types, but the physical construction and energization methods are profoundly different. It seems that the original creators of Golett preferred to build the creatures in the likeness of themselves, thus making them closer to real automatons than Baltoy. More importantly, it seems that their creators were planning on bringing their creations to life initially, as their bodies possess all of the main articulated joints found in humans, even in their fingers. This suggests that Golett were specifically built for some sort of functional purpose and were not originally animated by accident, as is the case of both Baltoy and Claydol. However, while Golett seem to have been built for basic labor functions, Golurk are vastly different from Golett in their purpose, which seems to be far more sacred and important, though it is likely that they still fulfill this purpose to some degree given their bodily construction.
On the inside of the chest plate, there is an inscription that reads, "Protector of the Ages," in an ancient dialect. As far as anyone knows, this is a statement meant to be taken literally. In essence, this could mean that Golurk were originally designed to be guardians or protectors of other life forms, as they show no discrimination between people and Pokemon. But this in turn begs the question as to why the time and effort would have been taken to construct such massive creatures in the first place.
The most common assumption is that their creators were on the verge of war and needed extra protection, which is supported by the existence of artillery platforms built into the castles they can be found near, from which they likely fired energy beams, though historical evidence in support of this viewpoint is scarce. The only other likely explanation is that this ancient civilization was way ahead of its time and actually built these creatures to protect the world for as long as they possibly could. If that is indeed the case and the structural integrity of their bodies is to be taken into account, it is more than likely that Golurk will continue to perform this function for many more centuries as they are.
On that note, as far as their combat attributes go, these creatures can potentially make short work of opponents with their powerful fists if needed, but can also be equally clumsy because of their awkward forms, giving each of them a unique personality of sorts and granting them access to Iron Fist and Klutz as base abilities, while those that show incredible determination, not unlike what humans might demonstrate, can also potentially have access to No Guard as a hidden ability.
In terms of stats, these automatons are able to make a good name for themselves in close quarters battles, as while they're not exactly able to take much of a direct hit, with only their base special defense stat being above average for a fully evolved ground-type Pokemon, they have a decent amount of stamina to work with and can hit incredibly hard with their physical attacks. As such, though the other stats leave much to be desired, aside from special defense, they also have above average base HP and attack stats for a fully evolved ghost and ground-type Pokemon, helping to give them a decent edge against those with poor physical defenses. As already mentioned, it is likely that Golett were constructed and utilized for light labor duties in primitive manufacturing and construction industries, just as modern machines are today, and continue to perform the duties they were given thousands of years ago. Not only would this explain why so many Golett still exist today, but would also give reasoning behind their high intelligence and exceptional communication skills, though why they seem to line up stones in lines at random is still uncertain. What causes the most frustration, however, is the fact that their power source is both breathtaking and utterly puzzling. While Baltoy are powered by psychic energy, the energy radiating through Golett is much more complex and difficult to understand. The only thing that is clear is that it grants their otherwise completely materialistic bodies the same physical properties possessed by ghost types, hence their bizarre type assignment. More importantly, this power source appears to be capable of minor regeneration, as there are still a considerable amount of Golett alive and fully functioning today, despite the passing of several millennia. In combination with the physical properties, this would point towards some form of spiritual energy as the prime source of power. Because of spiritual energy's delicate nature, modern technology is currently incapable of harnessing it as a power source, let alone infusing it into an inanimate object. This may suggest that the ancient civilization responsible for their creation had access to some sort of technology that is now lost to us. While some attempts have been made to reverse engineer the process of infusion through surviving Golett, little progress has been made in understanding how they truly work. Even so, that little bit is bringing the general scientific community closer to the metaphysical community every day, so it is likely that the secret lost in time may one day be revealed again.
The energy that fuels Golurk is assumed to be similar to that of Golett, rumored to come from a perpetual motion machine inside of them, powered by spiritual energy, but it is most likely present in a much more concentrated form either way.
Regardless of its composition, the average energy output of this particular power source is close to that of a medium-sized nuclear reactor, in turn granting Golurk some phenomenal abilities, such as the power to fly. The wrists and ankles of Golurk are actually designed to act as both stable supports for the hands and feet and powerful combustion chambers. By retracting their hands and feet and initiating a massive combustion reaction within their limbs, Golurk can effectively produce enough downward thrust to send them sailing across the sky as a quartet of jet engines would, which also allows them to utilize devastating moves like high horsepower and focus punch that are inaccessible to their pre-evolved form. The sheer amount of fuel needed to propel an object of their mass is incredible and certainly testifies towards both the regenerative qualities and the immense fuel capabilities their power source possesses. Unfortunately, this has led many foolish scientists and Pokémon hunters to try and obtain their internal power source by removing the metal plate attached to the front of their torsos, which is believed to cover up an access panel for manually disabling a Golurk. The problem with this is that, while the metal seal was likely designed as a failsafe in case a Golurk went out of control and needed to be deactivated, a Golurk is also built to act as a failsafe for its own plate. If the seal on a Golurk's chest is removed, the Golurk will go on an uncontrollable rampage, destroying and reducing everything in its vicinity to rubble before deactivating permanently. As such, the few people that have ever attempted such an action and succeeded are currently no longer living, making studies with Pokémon like Golett a much safer option.
Golett and Golurk are certainly a quirky set to say the least, but a lot of Automaton Pokémon tend to be as such regardless. On the one hand, it is fun to interact with them, as their general level of intelligence makes it easy to work and play with them, and they're usually quite friendly towards others and careful not to use their full strength unless necessary. Even Golurk, as strong as they are, tend to be very careful towards other life forms, and really prefer to be gentle giants above anything else. On the other hand though, when they are pressed into a combat role, these creatures mean business, and can not only use their fists to do massive damage, but can even turn their entire torsos into an energy cannon to fire away at others from afar. Their sheer amount of power they wield more than testifies to the amount of work that was likely put into making them who knows how long ago. And while they might not always be the most precise of weapons, friend or foe, these earthly beings can certainly prove themselves to be tough warriors and allies to rely on in any scuffle.
Though they might be more than a bit old, and not always the fastest of fighters out there, the members of the Golett family are nonetheless potent beings that can use their raw strength to slam opponents around a bit from one direction to the next. You might have to keep track of party size while carrying them around, especially once they are fully evolved, but their large and imposing forms can equally be used to intimidate others before they end up pulverized in place.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure that you've got a destination in mind if you choose to use them to reach new heights and locations. They might be able to fly when fully evolved, but if you land in the wrong spot, you might only have yourself to blame when these automatons decide to give you a solid punch for getting the both of you lost.
Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Untitled, and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.